Welcome back to All This Math. This is Professor Parker. Make sure you're subscribed to the All This Math YouTube channel. Make sure you drop a comment down below. Drop a question down below if you have a question about what I'm going to end up explaining. Also, share this video with somebody and also like the video. All right. Also, want to give a shout out to the ancestor, the Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. This is one of my King t-shirts with a quote on it that says, "Freedom is never given voluntarily by the oppressor. It must be demanded by the oppressed." One of his many quotables. All right. Also, King wrote books. All right. He wrote 3 books of his own. Right. First book was Stride Toward Freedom, either Strive or Stride. I'm not sure. Stride or Strive Toward Freedom. He wrote that right after the Montgomery bus boycott in 1956. That book I don't have, but I do have his second book, Why We Can't Wait, and his third and final book, Where Do We Go From Here? Chaos or Community? All right. And somebody recommended this book to me. This is a book by the late James Cone, Martin and Malcolm and America. Right. Heard this was a good read. I didn't dig into this yet, but I heard good reviews about this one. All right. So we got James Cone, Martin and Malcolm in America, Why We Can't Wait by King, Where Do We Go From Here? Chaos or Community by King. And his first book, which I need to add to my library, I don't have that one yet, Stride Toward Freedom, or it might be Strive Toward Freedom. All right. So understand, King did more than that I Have a Dream speech, right? He actually wrote books. All right. That's important. Okay. Now, what are we doing here? HSPT math, high school placement test math. High school placement test. The high school placement test, the HSPT, is a test given to Catholic school students and or other private schools, parochial school students in the 8th grade to measure their mathematical ability at that particular point in time. All right, this is an example of a typical question that you might see on that test. What is the value of 6 to the 4th power? Now, in the normal circumstances, most students, most people would just go grab a calculator, boom, type in 6, hit the Y to the X button, type in 4 for your exponent, hit the equal sign, and be done. However, in the HSPT, calculators are not allowed. So you need to use either mental math strategies or handwritten math to come up with an answer to this. And there are a few ways to do this problem. What do I think I want to do? So we got options. All right. So 6 to the 4th power. Now, first off, 6 to the 4th power. I want you to understand something about mathematics and about algebra. A lot of things that we write in math, the way we write mathematics, is similar to slang. It's like a form of slang. Like 6 to the 4th power is slang. That's not standard form. That's not expanded form. 6 to the 4th power is a shortened version of saying 6 times 6 times 6 times 6. That's like standard English. All right. 6 to the 4th power is like you speaking slang or your vernacular and the way you would talk to one of your little friends. Right. You don't talk to your mom like that. You don't talk to your dad like that. You talk to your friends like that. Right. 6 to the 4th power. Right. That's like slang. But in the standard form, we would say 6 times 6 times 6 times 6. Right. We could write all this or we could just say that. So that's what I want you to understand. There's a lot of things in algebra, pre-algebra, geometry, trigonometry, calculus, pre-calculus that are just symbols, which are representations of a longer idea, right? Just as slang is. All right. So think about mathematics as a language, right? We have to learn the language. We have to know how to read the language, speak the language, and write the language. All right. So what I could do is, since I got it written out like this, if I know my multiplication facts, I know that 6 times 6 is 36. So I can say, okay, that's 36. All right. And then I could say, okay, we'll put these sixes together, and that's 36. Bring the multiplication sign down. So now I'm doing 36 times 36. That's something I could do. That's one way I could do it. And then come up with the final answer. Or what I might do is this. I might instead, let's write this over again. 6 times 6 times 6 times 6. I might do 6 times 6 and get 36. And then 36 times 6. Now, 36 times 6, I use a mental math strategy. Whenever I multiply a 2-digit number by a 1-digit number, I decompose the 2-digit number, break it down into a number that ends in 0 and whatever's left over. So in this case, I'd have 30 and 6, 30 and 6. And I'm going to break it down into the biggest number that ends in 0, right? So I'm not going to use 20 or 10. I'm going to use 30 and 6. See what I did there? 30 and 6, because 30 plus 6 is 36. That's why 30 plus 6 is 36. And then I do 30 times 6, which gives me 180. Then I do 6 times 6, because the 6 was what's left over. That gives me 36. So 180 plus 36, I do the addition. 180 plus 36 is 216. So now I got a 216, and I'm bring this 6 down. So 216 times 6, I break this down by place value. 216 is the same thing as 200 plus 10 plus 6. 200 plus 10 plus 6. It's very helpful to think of numbers that way, whether they be 2-digit numbers, 3-digit, 4-digit, 5-digit, 6, whatever, right? It helps you with doing mental math, which we should be doing. We don't need to use a calculator for everything. We don't need Chat GPT, Siri, Alexa, all that. We don't need them for everything, all right? We don't need to be so over-reliant on computer technology. We have brains, all right? So 216 times 6. What's 200 times 6? That's going to be 1200 because 2 times 6 is 12. So 200 times 6 is 1200. What's 10 times 6? 60. What's 6 times 6? 36. Add them all up. 1200 plus 60 is 1260 plus 36 is 1290. What am I doing? 1296. 1296. So therefore, 6 to the fourth power is equal to 1296. Let me show you something else that's cool. If you understand exponent properties, another way to represent this would be 6 to the second power, in parentheses, to the second power. That's the power of a power rule. The power of a power rule. So 6 to the second power to the second power. 6 to the second power is 6 times 6. It ain't 12. It ain't 12. 6 to the second power is 36. So we got 36 squared, right? Which is just this right here. 36 squared is 36 times 36. Again, like I told you, an exponent is a form of slang, right? Instead of writing out 36 times 36, you just write the 36 with the exponent 2. Just say 36 squared, right? Just quick and dirty, all right? It's an efficient use of language, all right? So that's what it is. So you would do 36 times 36, which is, and let's do that real quick. We got time. Old-fashioned way. Multiplication algorithm, standard algorithm. 6 times 6 is 36. Write your 6, carry the 3. 6 times 3 is 18. 18 plus 3 is 21. Then we go over here. This is a 3, but it's really 30, right? But 3 times 6 is 18. Indent one space. Like Miss Johnson taught me back in like 87 in third grade up Roland Park. All right. 3 times 6 is 18. Write the 8. Cross that out. Carry the 1. 3 times 3 is 9. 9 plus 1 is 10. Now we do our addition. We do 6. 1 plus 8 is 9. 2 plus 0 is 2. Nothing plus 1 is 1. 1296. Either way. All right. So something light, but you got to understand these math concepts, and you can't use a calculator. So since you can't use a calculator, it challenges you to think about how to figure this out. All right. So this is problem solving. Now, why do we need to know this? I know somebody's going to ask it. Why I need to know this? Why I got to use this? How is this going to help me in life? This is developing your problem solving ability. All right. So if anybody ever asks, why do I need to know this? In anything math related, let them know. Math develops your problem solving ability. You are a human being. Human beings have problems. Your life will be better if you know how to approach and solve problems. That is why you should learn math. That is one of the many reasons, but that is probably the most important reason, so that you can be a human being that has problem solving skills, also critical thinking ability, also analytical reasoning ability. All of these types of skills are developed from doing mathematics, whether you realize it or believe it or not, right? Whether you realize it or believe it or not, you are developing problem solving skills. And as human beings, we will have problems. Life is very uncomfortable when you have problems and you don't know how to solve them. You don't even know how to identify them. Actually, it's not uncomfortable when you don't know how to identify them, because a lot of us live on this whole ignorance is bliss type of situation. But then at some point, you know, it ain't gonna be bliss, because you're going to feel the effects of that, because you didn't know how to identify the problem. And then even if you did know how to identify, a lot of times you ain't know how to solve it. So math teaches you how to think a certain way so that you can identify and solve problems, no matter what type of problems they are. Not just problems in a math class, problems in everyday life, problems walking down the block, on the street, anywhere you might be. You might be in an airport, you could be on a bus, you could be in your car in traffic, on a highway, wherever. You could have a problem with a significant other or anybody, right? Problems are problems, right? So when somebody asks you why I got to learn this, that's reason number one. Develop your problem solving ability. All right. And if they don't want to know how to solve problems, then I'm sorry for you. I don't know what to tell you. But anyway, make sure you subscribe to the All This Math YouTube channel. Make sure you like this video. Drop a comment down below if you got a comment. If you got a question about anything I did up here, drop your question down there. All right. Drop your question in the comments. And also, last but not least, share the video. And also, study Dr. King. All right. Study Dr. King. Read some of his books. Read some of his work. Get to know the brother, know the work that he did. All right. Read and study his actual work and the writings by him and about him. All right. See y'all later. Peace.